So just like a product needs a special rule in order to find the derivative, so does the quotient. Also, just like the last screencast, if you need to pause this as you go along, feel free to do so. So here's the product rule, the quotient rule. And like the product rule, the pieces that we see of f of x and g of x that we're trying to find the derivative of in terms of a quotient also show up in the derivative, as well as the derivative of each piece of those. And those are separated just like the product rule by a sign. The difference being that this separation, though, is a subtraction sign, and so the numerator is no longer commutative. In the denominator, we also have the original function showing up. This is different than in the product rule. In the denominator here, we have g of x to the second power. It might kind of look like there's a -2 in there. It's not. So it's just the g of x function that's being squared in the denominator. For those of you that are a UV person, it might look like this. But honestly, a really common way to go through and talk about the quotient rule is to look at the fact that we have a numerator and a denominator, and I'm going to call the numerator the high piece and the denominator the low piece. And we say low d high minus high d low over low squared, where the d high is meaning the derivative of the upper piece and the d low means the derivative of the low piece. So low d high minus high d low over low squared. It's a nice thing to take the time to memorize. Let's go through an example. And what you might want to actually do is see if you can get the answer to this before looking at my answer. So go ahead and pause this and try to find the derivative yourself. If I apply the quotient rule, and I'm going to think about it as low d high minus high d low over low squared, here's the low, and it's being multiplied by, let's try that again, here's the low, and it's being multiplied by d high, so the derivative of the upper piece. So I have to multiply by 2x. Be careful about throwing in parentheses as you need. So low d high minus high d low over low squared. And in the next steps, I'll go through and look at how this can be simplified. Did you get this line next? And then this line? I think I accidentally had a -5 in that blue. It should be a +5 at the end. So did you get this green as your final answer? Don't expand the bottom. We actually want the problem factored. If the numerator were factored, I would have done that, but it doesn't. So here's what I would like you to try. There's 2 parts to your assignment. The first part is to write the product rule 3 times and write the quotient rule 5 times. While you're writing them, say them out loud to yourself. Think about them in your head. Do something that helps you memorize these. The second part of your assignment is actually out of the book. I want you to try these problems. And these seem like pretty important rules, the product rule and the quotient rule. Maybe it'd be a good idea to have a pop quiz on Wednesday.